Good evening, 49er faithful. Welcome to another episode of the live 49ers Mailbag. This is the NFC Championship Week edition. Yes, that's right, 49er faithful. We are here in the NFC Championship game. Quite honestly, which of you would have accurately predicted this when we were 3-5? I mean, I was optimistic at that point, but even I cannot say that I would have correctly predicted the 49ers being able to get to where they are right now. It's pretty remarkable. I am back from Green Bay. I spent a day in Chicago after being there. It was fantastic to unwind, to have so many Bears fans come up to me wearing my Niners gear and congratulate us on beating the Packers. The amount of disdain and hatred that Bears fans in Chicago have for the Green Bay Packers is priceless. I mean, I really got a kick out of it. It was phenomenal. I was reliving the Niners victory everywhere that I went. All right, with no more ado, let's break down the mailbag. For those of you that have been here before, I think you know. People are fired up in the chat. They're already, asking some questions. If you're here in the chat and you want to put your live mailbag question, what is your question about the San Francisco 49ers? What are we going to do against the Rams in this upcoming matchup? About the Green Bay Packers game? Whatever question you may have, throw it in the chat. Put @Rob or @RobShoe in there so that I know you're hitting me up for that question. But as always, I have some previously submitted questions that came in either through 49ersmailbag@gmail.com or through my Twitter handle, where I put out the question this morning, what are your questions about the Niners? And got several responses. We've got about 10 or 11 previously submitted questions that we're going to go through. While I'm doing that, put your well thought out questions into the chat. Again, folks are fired up, just coming in to say hello, asking folks to hit the like button, doing my work for me. We got sneakerheads in the chat. Luke Luna is here. Yes, we are in fact going to take over Levi's Stadium. SoFi. I meant Levi's South. Yes, AJB asking what people should be eating. Lamb chops came in, and then lamb chops with a little bit of the DJ Jones barbecue sauce. Yes, lamb chops with DJ Jones barbecue sauce is the way to go for this one. I think that you probably can't get any better than that combination. I am very, very excited for this game, just in case you can't tell. All right, I'm getting into the previously submitted questions here. Again, always lightly edited for content and shrinking them down to fit on the screen here, but I will always read out the complete question that came in. So this first one, here's how I shorten it up. If Coach DeMeco gets hired away, which I hope he doesn't this year, will we get more comp picks like we did last year for Coach Saleh? This comes in from Thomas L. This one did come in via Gmail, 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. This was the first part of Thomas's question. Because it came in via Gmail, I allowed the two parts. I put the second one in. I'll get to it in just a second. But this one specifically about getting DeMeco hired away. Yes, currently the NFL is attempting to incentivize the hiring of minority candidates for both head coaching positions and GM positions throughout the NFL, right? We're at a situation that is unacceptable, where the number of black coaches in the league after everyone on the firings that happened, we're down to just one for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Right? So unacceptable. The NFL has made this attempt to try and promote it. So the way in which it will work, if either DeMeco Ryans or Ran Carthon get hired this cycle by the Niners, those are the two of the four people that we've heard mentioned getting interviewed. The others being Mike McDaniel and then obviously Adam Peters. Either one of those candidates gets hired, we get nothing in return. But if DeMeco Ryans or Ran Carthon get hired this cycle, the Niners would get a third-round compensatory pick in the 2022 draft. If both of those individuals are hired, as was the case with Robert Saleh and Martin Mayhew getting hired in the same year, then you get back-to-back third-round compensatory picks. We still have one in this year's draft as a result of that happening last year. We got a third rounder in last year's draft for Robert Saleh, and we get a third rounder in this year's draft for Martin Mayhew. If that happens again, if both are hired, we will get a 2022 and a 2023 third round compensatory pick. And as always, those compensatory picks are at the end of the third round. All right, I definitely shortened up this next question that came in. Here's the shortened version. Shu, do you think Tom Compton will have another not so good game, or will he turn it around? This one came in from Karthik. Karthik, appreciate the question. Here's the entirety of it. Shu, do you think Tom Compton will have another not so good home game, or will he turn it around knowing he took over Big Mike's duties and is one game away from the Super Bowl? He gave up a good amount of pressures on that right side of the offensive line to Rashawn Gary and a sack. Do you think he will have his fair share of wins against Leonard Floyd, an even more skilled pass rusher on the edge, making this more of a doubt because we have 6 straight dominant dubs over the Rams this season, and our O-line was a huge contributor in those wins? Will a very talented defensive coordinator, Raheem Morris, dial up the pressures and blitz packages over the edge to scare Compton to finally break this win streak against them? So in answer to that question, I do expect that it's fair to assume Tom Compton will struggle a bit in pass protection on obvious passing downs. Feel like that's been pretty consistent for Tom Compton. Both Brunskill and Compton are far better as run blockers than they are against the pass, and both struggle against a strong bull rush. You can see multiple times on tape where either one of those individuals on the right side of the line are getting walked back into Jimmy Garoppolo with a strong defender with a quality bull rush. The key for the 49ers, in my opinion, is to stay out of those obvious passing downs, to stay out of third and long. They have to run the ball first, get to that run first identity, control the clock, run the ball first and foremost, keep running it until you exhaust those pass rushers. Run directly at them, force them to make tackles, stops in the run game, and wear them down. I truly believe that the Niners are the more physical of these two teams. Between Los Angeles and San Francisco, the Niners are by far the more physical team, but they must exert that physicality to gain the advantage. They must exert themselves on the Rams in order to push them back and wear them down over the course of a game. If the 49ers fall behind early or find themselves in considerable passing downs, that to me is the disadvantage. That is where the Rams would be able to take advantage of that suspect right side of the line when it comes to obvious passing situations. All right, I want to get into some of your comments here as well to make sure that we are keeping up with the live portion of this live mailbag. Got to go first to Riddy bringing in the super chat. Best defense will win the whole thing, and that defense is the San Francisco 49ers. This team way too physical. That's what I was just talking about here, Riddy, and I agree with you. This team is the more dominant of the two, the physically more dominant, the one that is more likely to, over 60 minutes of football, be able to exert their will over the opponent. And it's not going to be something that will be done quickly. The Rams will most likely come out and punch the 49ers right in the mouth, right? They're going to come out with a ferocity, the way in which they did in the last matchup. And that was almost too much. The Niners let them get up big, 17-point lead. You can't allow that type of first swing because a 17-point comeback is tough, even for a team like the Niners who have physically dominated the Rams. So I would look for some big punches, big swings by the Rams early, and then counter punches by the 49ers. My hope is that we don't fall behind in any way like we did in that last game against those Rams. All right, looking to get to the comments again, hit the @Rob or @RobShoe to ask those questions live. Got a sneakerhead E. Kim coming in to say hello. Always want to say hello to the sneakerhead. Sean 951 Niners in the building. Raphael 562 also in the building. AJB calling out, Rob, welcome back from the cold. Yes, I am glad to be back from Lambeau. I will say that was one of the most impressive experiences I have had at a football game. Lambeau Field while it's not one of these new modern stadiums, was really striking. I was personally struck by the magnitude, by the history of it, by the combination of new and old. I found it to be very compelling, and that was a very, very memorable experience for yours truly. One I will never forget. Looking up at halftime at the snow falling down, that picturesque moment, it was just too special. And I said to myself, literally, this is too special for the Niners to lose this. And they didn't. All right. E. Kim comes in at Rob. Got your tickets and travel set for the NFC Championship game? I have my travel set, waiting on those tickets, waiting on a little bit of value for those tickets. We shall see. 420 Savage at Rob Shoe. Next movie reading, The Program from the 90s. Best football movie ever. This is for those that saw the end of that last video where I did a reading of Al Pacino's speech from the halftime of Any Given Sunday. Now, I realized afterward that I should have set it up better. For any fans that didn't know Any Given Sunday or weren't really familiar with the movie, I probably jumped into it too quickly. I was also saddened not to have this microphone recording it. I do wish that I had my Al Pacino impersonation into this microphone. I may have to record it again just to get one on the books that is done well professionally. And yes, I may need to bring in requests for some of the other movies that I need to do some voiceover work for. Luke Walsh, hey Rob, I see your freezing halftime report. So fantastic we were able to pull it off. Man, to be there in Lambeau, I am telling you, I thought, man, what if we aren't able to turn this around? But then, I swear, it hit me. It was too special for the Niners not to make it turn around. And they did. JT Hester at Schubert. How you doing, GOAT? Out of 10, how you feeling against the Lambs? How am I feeling out of 10? 1 to 10. 10 being we're going to mop the floor with them. 1 being, I'm quaking in my little booties. I'm going to go with an 8 on this one. I don't want to be overconfident on it. I don't think an 8 is overconfident. An 8 is fired up. An 8 is acknowledging the strength of your opponent, just how good that team is, even though we have beaten them 6 times in a row now. You have to acknowledge they're a good team. Yes, we match up well against them. It's going to be a tough matchup. But if the 49ers play how they can and should play, then we should be good. Raphael 5629ers asking about Trent Williams injury news. The x-rays are negative. Still waiting to see if he's practicing at some point this week. Karthik at Rob, did mailbags get switched from Wednesdays to Tuesdays? Mailbags are Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays are between two beards. That's how it's been for the last month or so. Philip at Rob, I love the irony that we had to beat the Rams to get into the playoffs and now have to beat them again to get to the Super Bowl. The football gods are laughing their ass off. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Niner Faithful at Rob, let's beat LA and get that 6th Lombardi. Cheers to that, Niner Faithful. And yes, we have a new Cheers mug. For those that didn't know, we lost the Cheers mug as I was showing off the parka that I brought to Green Bay. And I thought to myself, oh no, broke the mug. You can hear it on that video where I brought the Packers guy on. But it turned out to be a needed sacrifice that was made to the special teams gods, and the positive mojo from the Cheers mug was transferred to the parka. The parka went with me to Green Bay and then inspired the special teams hurrah that we saw. Now we have new mugs. We've got this one here, which I love because it's double-sided. You had the 49ers on one side and the emblem on the other. But we do have a bunch of those same mugs, the original Cheers mug, en route, because I want to have 1 or 2 backups, and I want to give away 1 or 2 on the channel as well. E. Kim at Rob, for most of my life, the Packers had Favre and Rodgers as starting quarterbacks, but the Bears can't slip and fall to find a starting quarterback. No, it is definitely tough for them, and that's why they look up to the Packers as sort of that older brother and definitely do not like them. All right, here we go. Drew YC at Rob Shoe. What's your score prediction for the coming up NFC Championship game? I've yet to go into that. As per usual, Wednesday will be the score prediction. Tune in to tomorrow, Between Two Beards, and you will see that. Raphael 562, Levi South. Karthik at Rob, this season has better than 2019. Thoughts? I think it has been different than 2019, much more of a roller coaster, and I'm enjoying it for what it is. It doesn't take away from what 2019 was for me, but it is a very, very special season because of the fact that we've had highs and lows and everything in between. All right. Jaldaco 26 at Rob. What's the possibility of Trey playing a couple snaps? I feel we might need to use the element of surprise to beat the Rams. I've been calling for this since halfway point in the season. Just work him in for a couple of snaps. I think that what we have seen from Coach Shanahan is he is unwilling to do that. He is clinging even tighter to Jimmy Garoppolo, if that's possible. I think it's ride or die with Jimmy Garoppolo at this point. I will be surprised if we work in Lance. Riddy coming in. Best defense will win the whole thing, and that defense is the San Francisco 49ers. This team way too physical. Riddy feeling passionate about that statement, and I am all here for it. Yes, I am. Brought that one in already, but here's Joe. It was worth it. It bore repeating. Joe E. Dream recipe equals dominate LA, dominate Cincy, and then watch your Super Bowl celebration show. Can I dream, though? Yes, Joe. I hope that comes through. Joe, one of our sneakerheads, I very truly hope that is the case. You may have to wait a few hours for the Super Bowl show because I would be there. I would make it happen. I would find my way back to LA again. Those Super Bowl tickets are ridiculously priced, but you got to do it. You have to. Sean 951 coming in. Lambeau equals Wrigley Field. 49ers 28-13. Rams will try and punch us in the mouth, but not this time. We started the turnaround versus the Rams week 10. Then they let us in the playoffs. Now we finish the NFC versus them. It is picture perfect. You couldn't write a better storyline. The 49ers getting to go into Dallas, into Jerry World, and knock off the Cowboys. See ya. Go into Lambeau. January football. Fifth coldest game at Lambeau. Your boy was there. He was handling the cold. He had like 75 layers on, but that's what's necessary when you're not a cold-blooded individual. We knocked the Packers out. Oh, and Aaron Rodgers hasn't gotten that sweet revenge he talked about just yet. Now we head off to play an NFC West rival in our home away from home. Couldn't get any better. Looking at 2 games back-to-back at SoFi Stadium. Sean, I am fired up. We're coming down to your neck of the woods to get this win. Muhammad coming in. Shout out from Astoria, Oregon. Very cool. I hope you have been out to the coast. Nice to have a local Niner fan. Seahawks fans out here are grimy. Laughing my ass off. Muhammad, yes, I have definitely been out to the coast. You have some of, if you don't know this, listen up. If you like fish and chips, now this is a different type of fish and chips than what E. Kim was talking about back east, where you get some walleye, some killer stuff, right? This is halibut. Go out to Astoria. There is this schooner that's like this boat that is sitting on dry land that always has a line to it. I rode my motorcycle out there for a nice afternoon during some kind weather. It's not kind weather out there right now. It's a little cold here in Portland. Not as cold as it was in Green Bay, but cold. Yes, I have been to Astoria. I love Cannon Beach. The Oregon coast is gorgeous. It is not like the beaches in California, but it is a phenomenal spot. Absolutely breathtaking. If you haven't seen the rocky coastline of Northern California and Oregon, man, you are missing out. Muhammad, Astoria, also nod to the Goonies, which was filmed in Astoria. Man, I'm a big fan of the Oregon coast, as you can probably tell. Rome 33, out of 10, how much does Jimmy have to do with us being in the championship game? A lot of Jimmy apologists, but I think it's a fair question. That is a fair question. And it's a tough one. And let me preface this by saying this is me off of the cuff, right, Rome? So don't hold me to this as if I had taken 20, 30 minutes to really ponder this question, to come up with a thoughtful answer. This is live. This is me, gut reaction. I got to say, I would put Jimmy at maybe a 6.5, 7, somewhere in there. I would definitely go above 5, right? So to me, below 5 would be like, he hurt the 49ers' chances, right? 5 is like, well, they could have gone on with another average quarterback. I don't believe that. I think Jimmy brings things to the table that other 49ers fans that hate him overlook. And I will talk about that a little bit later. But certainly the quick release, the ability to throw a great pass over the middle into small windows is something that can't be overlooked in an offense that's predicated on yards after the catch. You have to be able to hit something on time in order to allow that to happen. But I'm not going to go so far as to say that, if we had another quarterback who was in that 10 to 15 range within the league, that we couldn't have done exactly what we did this year. I do think it's strange to try and rewrite history and say that our rookie quarterback could have done exactly what Jimmy did. Maybe he could have. I'm a big fan of Trey Lance, and I will be fully behind him every time he starts for the 49ers. But right now it's Jimmy, and I think he gives us a great chance to succeed. I have to give him credit for where he delivers. Muhammad, dude, Rob, you're talking about the bow picker. Yes, the bow picker is the name of it. It didn't come to me. It is the best. My brother and I own the gas station next to it. Got to visit next time. Muhammad, I will most definitely stop in and say hello. That's fantastic. I love meeting other 49er faithful. All right, I am going to get to a couple of the previously submitted questions. Again, if you want your live questions in there, put them after Muhammad's last super chat, because that's where I'm going to pick up answering questions, and hit the @Rob or @Rob Shoe, so I know you're talking to me and not just amongst yourselves. All right, this is a second parter from Thomas. He put it in earlier at 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. Since you were at Lambeau when Willis blocked that punt, could y'all see the ball from the stands? Huff said he didn't know where the ball was until it hit the ground. Yes, I did. I saw that thing. I saw it shoot up in the freaking air. It was wild. I mean, it went boop straight up. It was wild how high it went, and then saw it go up, then heard the smack from it hitting Willis's hand. You could actually hear that from the stadium. I was only I think I was row 13 at the 50-yard line, and so I was pretty close to the field. I mean, it was a phenomenal experience. And then I saw it land, and there were like 2 or 3 Niners in my field of view that were going for it. So I pretty much figured it was going to be a scoop and score. And then I absolutely proceeded to lose my shit in the stands. Just went crazy. I mean, I felt a little bad for some of the very nice Packers fans that were around me. They were very kind. They were old-time Packers fans that their families had owned the seats since the frickin' stadium had opened. Like, it was wild. I wanted to be both respectful and very honest about my emotions at that moment, and my emotions were going through the frickin' roof, as you can imagine. This one is a hypothetical coming in from Ev Days. Everett, appreciate the submission here. Always appreciate your contributions from the graphic design department. The 49ers graphic control department. There's a name for it, and it's escaping me right now, Ev. Please correct me if you're watching it. So here's the hypothetical. Down by 4. Time about to expire. 4th and goal at the 3. Does Kyle, number 1, give it to Debo as expected? Number 2, trust Jimmy G to throw to Jawan Jennings. Number 3, insert Trey Lance. Number 4, give to Elijah Mitchell. To me, this is an obvious choice of one or the other. It is either Debo or the throw to Jennings. Those seem like the two that Kyle would go with. And I think it would be predicated on what the matchup was, what the defense was doing, because Kyle does love to attack weaknesses. And if he thought that a team was selling out to stop Debo, selling out to stop the run, then he would absolutely take that shot. For me, for my money, I would go to Debo. With the season on the line, there is no one else that I trust more. There is no one more deserving of that moment. No one who earned the right to either advance the 49ers or lose that game, whatever game we're talking about, whether it's advancing to the Super Bowl or winning the Super Bowl for that matter, right? To me, you've got to trust your most valuable players, and Deebo is just that for the San Francisco 49ers. I would also say there is no one more willing to literally manifest their own destiny and force that ball into the end zone by sheer strength of will and determination than Deebo frickin' Samuel, because that man is a beast. Cheers to Deebo. All right, getting back into your live chat, because I ain't forgetting about those who have joined live. Looking for the @RobShoe or @Rob comments. Ricardo coming in, @RobShoe. What a 75th year for the 49ers and the faithful. It is meant to be Super Bowl or bust. Love it, Ricardo. Love it. Edgard. Hey, everybody. Shoo, what a 49, boys. Yes, physically, but also mindly. We will physically outmatch them and mentally outmatch them. I like that prediction. Absolutely love it. All right, finding the @Rob or @RobShoe. Thomas Andrews, @Rob. 49ers big question. Where would you rank Kyle Shanahan and Jimmy as a coach and quarterback combo? I think top 3 in the league. That's interesting. Kyle Shanahan, I would definitely put in the top 5. Jimmy, I have closer to 15 as far as where he ranks quarterbacks in the league. It fluctuates for me somewhere between 14 and 18 on any given year. Combined, it'd be tough. I would have to really go through top 10 for sure, probably top 5. To go bigger than top 5 is tough. Top 3, I think that the Bills and the Chiefs might edge them out there. It'd be tough without going through and looking at all the rest of them. But maybe the Niners are 3rd there. I like that. I like that statement. I absolutely do. All right, looking for... Here we go. Robert Whitaker, @RobShoe. Seems like Deebo is on the sidelines too much. Thoughts? I love Portland, by the way. My dad lives in Seaside. Seaside is a very nice coastal town here. Yes, Deebo is on the sideline. After most of his runs, he then goes to the sideline and sits out the next play. I believe that it is in an effort to try and not overuse Deebo, and it's just to give him rest. I believe he's in there as much as he can handle, and that's the best you can ask for him, I believe. Truth told, not sold, one of our sneakerheads, @Rob. Rams regret that they didn't finish us off, keeping us out of the playoffs, thinking, oh no, now it's going to bite them in the ass. NFL got their WWE storyline. I love it. They absolutely are regretting not being able to land that knockout punch. It is their nightmare scenario, truth told, not sold. Texas Niner, another sneakerhead here, says, @Rob, Jimmy needs to hit 15 to 20 passes for Sunday and we win. Needs to be a run-dominant game with San Francisco. Please, Shanahan, don't leave the standard recipe. I agree, Texas Niner. It's got to be run first, keep the ball out of the Rams' hands, allow for the physical nature to just dominate this matchup. Karthik, @Rob, Warner and Bosa were first and last in PFF highest grade defenders from the divisional round. Hell yeah, faithful. Man, Warner and Bosa first and last in PFF. That is interesting. Yeah, I thought Warner had a hell of a game. Hell of a game. And Bosa's about to have one. NYCE 1030, @Rob, do you think you are? I think you are right on that number on Jimmy. 7 or 8 is a good call. Hey, I'm telling you. That's a good range. David, sir, @RobShoe, out of 5 playoff games, Jimmy has 2 touchdowns and 6 total turnovers. Out of 120 total points the 49ers scored in those 5 games, Jimmy is responsible for only 14 of those points. I get people wanting to criticize Jimmy Garoppolo, and I also criticize Jimmy Garoppolo. Let me definitively state that right here and now. I am frustrated by the inconsistent play of Jimmy Garoppolo. It then confuses me how anyone could say I'm a Jimmy apologist or that I am overly praising of Jimmy. No, I am absolutely here for the criticism of Jimmy. And I think we need better play from him over the next 2 to get this thing done. That said, I also believe we have to call out the things that he does well. That's all I state. So yes, David, I agree with you that it's worrisome, the lack of contributions that Jimmy Garoppolo has been able to make to the offense. It is concerning the number of turnovers that he has had. It is concerning just how boneheaded some of those passes are. And he has delivered at times as well. You cannot convince me otherwise. HR, Rob, take me into the mind of a Rams player and how he's trying to convince himself that this time things will be different. What will he say? I think that they're just trying to psych themselves up. It is, hey, we had them the last time. We had them up against the ropes and we got overconfident. We were crushing them. We were crushing them up until halftime. And then, we took our foot off of the gas. All we got to do this time is play a complete game. But the 49ers know for certain that they took that best shot by the Rams. They took the punch in the face that Mike Tyson is always talking about. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. The Niners took that hit and they responded. And there's just no way in the back of any Rams players' minds that they don't realize that there isn't just a little seed of doubt back there. And it's that doubt that will come crashing forward when the Niners do anything positive on Sunday, when they grab that first lead, when they come back, when they sack Stafford, when they force that turnover. All of those fears will come crashing back for the Rams players. And that is a psychological edge for the 49ers in my book. Jake Harrison, at Rob, what kind of bike do you ride? For the motorcycle, I have a Ducati Monster 1200S is the motorcycle. I actually ride bicycles more than I ride that motorcycle. Actually, literally more miles on a bicycle than on a motorcycle. And that's hard to do given how much easier it is to ride the motorcycle at that point. But I have a couple of nice specialized bikes that I really enjoy. Winners coming in. Going to the Super Bowl 2 times in 3 years would be an incredible accomplishment. Jimmy touches the ball every single play and has had a huge role. When did our fan base become so spoiled and unappreciative? Sad. Winners, this is a little closer to my feelings on it. I don't want to be overly critical of folks that can't get past the criticism of Garoppolo. I said in my post game that came after a day of reflection and getting some messages from people that didn't seem to be appreciating just how special it is for the 49ers to be in this moment. So my message to people, even if you want to criticize Jimmy Garoppolo, which is fair, again, that is totally fair. He deserves criticism for a lot of things that he does. His play warrants criticism. And find the joy in the Niners winning, because winning in the playoffs is very difficult. And it only happens on the road very sparingly. So for the 49ers to have done what they have done to this point, beating Dallas, beating Green Bay, in Dallas, in Lambeau, these things are special. Please, Niner faithful, regardless of your age, appreciate this. I just don't know that people know how rarefied this is, how special it is, that this season will go down in the history books for where we are right now, let alone what happens. And yes, we need better play from Jimmy Garoppolo. But if we get another victory coming up here, take a moment to savor it before going to the criticism. Please, please believe me on that. Your brain will appreciate the positivity. There's plenty of negative to go around. Just soak in some positivity. Here we go. I'm that 49er fan, says 37-24 Niners. Debo. Joe E. coming in. Get the 6th trophy. Thank Jimmy for service. Field calls from Washington, Houston, Cleveland, bad organizations. Then move on to Lombardi Lance. Joe, this is what I'm all about. Let us just get this season in the books. Clearly, Coach Shanahan wants to ride with Jimmy Garoppolo. That is his choice. He's made it abundantly clear, both in what he says and his actions on the field. So let's all get behind that for now and then move forward with Lance next year. By the way, as I have on every occasion stated, I'm thrilled with drafting Trey Lance. I predicted we would draft Trey Lance. I was thrilled when we drafted Trey Lance. I still am thrilled to see Trey Lance next year. I'm just in admittance that it is Jimmy Garoppolo's team right now, as Coach Shanahan has made, again, abundantly clear, and I'm a 49er faithful. So I am pulling for whomever is starting for the San Francisco 49ers. That is my stance on it. All right, going to get back into the previously submitted questions in just a second. Mark coming in, though. I am very critical of Jimmy. However, there are not many quarterbacks in the league right now I trust more than Jimmy on a final drive to win the game. The clutch factor for Jimmy is certainly there. The rest of the team has stated it repeatedly that he has whatever leadership traits you're looking for that give you confidence in those moments. He is unflappable. He can go out and throw that boneheaded pick that makes us all cringe and then come back and lead the final drive and make some clutch throws while doing it. To me, I just cannot give praise while I'm heaping on that criticism. I have to do both. To me, that's the only genuine way to cover this 49ers team, is to call out the ups and the downs. That's my truth. Sired coming in. Hot take. It's Lance's time, and he should have started this year. But I appreciate the hell out of Jimmy. He had some bad moments, but don't we all? That is well said, right? Yes, it is Lance's time, and maybe he should have started this year. Next year is certainly Lance's time. Maybe Lance could have provided a different spark than we had this year. Maybe he would have struggled. Maybe we missed the playoffs. Maybe we, make and win the Super Bowl. Who knows what would have happened? But what did happen is Jimmy played 15 games this year. I predicted he would play 16. And the Niners are in the NFC Championship game. So I also am appreciating the hell out of Jimmy Garoppolo for whatever role he played within that, because he most certainly played the role of starting quarterback for this team. Roy Price coming in. Shout out to my son, Max. Why come no one is giving our defense the props they deserve? They are playing lights out ball in the second half of games. Hey, I have been giving all sorts of props to DeMeco Ryans and that defense. They are legit. Yes, they are legit. I mean, DeMeco, for a first-year coordinator, frickin' forget about it. We will be lucky if he isn't grabbed as a head coach after this year. What he has put on tape with this defense after losing his starting cornerback week 1, are you kidding me, DeMeco? G-Bone wants a focus shot on the new mug. Look at that. Cheers. 49ers on one side and the logo on the other. Yeah, we are loving this one. I did not see many of this one out there. I think this is a rare piece that I am excited to have gotten my hands on. You notice how careful I'm being now, because now I've got the fear of God in me as far as dropping anything. Thankfully, let me just tell you about losing that last Cheers Cup. It was a freaking miracle that it fell onto me, just soaking my jeans and the floor beneath me, and didn't fall forward onto the desk, hitting all of the electronics that make up my studio setup here. So it was a miracle, an absolute freaking miracle that thing turned out the way that it did. And again, it turned out to be a sacrifice that was necessary to transfer the mojo. All the positive mojo from all those Cheers moments was then put into the parka that I then brought to Green Bay. Now, the question is, how can I transfer the good mojo from the parka to the chalkline gold jacket? That's the question. I don't necessarily want to burn the parka or do anything to sacrifice it, but I need some sort of a Freaky Friday situation that can switch that mojo from the parka to the gold starter chalkline jacket. Sorry, that is the chalkline jacket, the classic 80s gold jacket that you have seen me wear on multiple occasions. All right, getting into some live questions here. Again, hit me with @Rob or @RobShoe if you want those comments read. Truth told, not sold. Sneakerhead says, at Rob, 3-5 to NFC Championship game. Who would have thought the Super Bowl 54 loss has added extra appreciation to this run? We grow in defeat and setbacks in life. This team is built like iron. This is what I'm talking about. The excitement of going through some things. For those of you who have been through some things in your life, if you haven't, let me speak to you. If you have, you know what I'm talking about. It makes you stronger. When you fail, it makes you better. People have this fear of failure. The greats in life embrace failure. They absolutely embrace failure. Go listen to Elon Musk talk about failure. I only bring him up because I had the opportunity to work at Tesla, so it's a firsthand experience for me. He may be a polarizing figure. Please don't allow that to cloud this message. But it is about failing fast. You want to fail. The more and more and more you fail, the more wrong ways you have just eliminated. And you've just made it clearer what the correct path forward is. There are takeaways from all of those moments of failure. And this team has learned from its failures. This team has gotten better from those low points of the season. This team is a better unit because they were 3-5, because they stared destiny in the face and moved forward. It is that adversity that will make them into what they become. It is that adversity that will carry them. Yes. Red Eye. I'm not sure what this is talking about, but I'm guessing it's some trash talk. Just going to bring it in because whatever. I am okay if you want to criticize a bit. Looking for the at Rob Shoe, JC, one of our sneakerheads. At Rob. The Casas family is going to get loud Sunday. Let's go Niners. Jay, you going to be there? That is fantastic. Fantastic. Buck, at Rob Shoe, how important is a quarterback's mental? The team always talks about how calm Jimmy G is when he brings peace of mind to the team. Jimmy G takes a lot of heat, but you'd never know how it affects him. I absolutely believe this to be true, Buck. The qualities of a leader, the way in which they inspire others, some of those things cannot be quantified. I'm going to get into that in a little bit. CT Law, are you going to the game? Jimmy is ready. I believe this week the team will leave it all out on the field to save Jimmy. I feel Super Bowl, no trade. You? Yes, I'm going to the game. First and foremost, going to go there with my best friend, Mark. Very excited about that. I do believe this field will leave it all. This team will leave it all on the field. I do believe that they fight a little bit harder for Jimmy to try and save him some face. And I do think that's a part of being a good leader. I do believe that the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl. And I'll make that next prediction when they are there, because I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Talent. Coming in at Rob Shoe, say we win the Super Bowl. Do you still trade Jimmy? Ooh, people want to know. Can you sneak a first for him by maybe a team like the Steelers? Who would you target with that pick? Whatever the first pick in the draft that we have is, I'm going edge rusher. I want a speed edge rusher to be bookend opposite of Bosa to replace what D Ford was supposed to be. I'm looking for a rangy veteran for that need we have at cornerback. So I would actually go free agent for the cornerback need and then speed rusher, edge rusher with whatever that first pick is. Right now it's in the second round, but it could be a first rounder if we get one for Jimmy. We may get a second for Jimmy. We could then package those twos and move back up into the first. That would be an ideal situation for me. If we win the Super Bowl, I think it has to be Jimmy's contributions that force us to keep him. If he is the MVP of the Super Bowl, that may change the equation. Jericho Green, I wonder what the Packers pack. The Lambs of LA will die this Sunday. Hey, I love the optimism. We got to take over that stadium. If you are thinking about going to this game, go to this game. Wear that red, wear it proud, and make some freaking noise. Looking for, here we go. Winners coming back in. Give me a true leader over flashy stats any day. This team believes in Jimmy. Trey getting to watch Jimmy lead Who learned how to lead from Brady is something Trey needs to learn to truly be great. I would agree that Trey can take away a lot from this season. He can take away a lot from the 2 starts that he had this year as well. But watching Jimmy handle this situation with grace and poise and not melt down in the locker room, I think it has to be appreciated. I believe it's a tip of the cap and a nod of the head to Jimmy Garoppolo for doing it and for the ability to, put aside those boneheaded mistakes and come through in some pretty clutch moments, while at the same time deserving the criticism for those boneheaded plays and needing to clean those up and needing to play cleaner these next 2 games. I do believe he's due. Brian Culp asking at Rob Shue, do you want the Chiefs or Cincinnati? I've got that question coming up later, Bryant. Stay tuned. Pete, what's up, Rob? Just got in the live stream. Any updates on Trent Williams? Nothing concrete yet. We will be following the practice reports. X-rays are negative. X-rays are negative. It is said to be much more of the low ankle sprain variety that Jordan Willis had. And Jordan Willis sustained that in the game against the Cowboys. And you know what he did in the game against the Packers. And that was on short rest. So I think Trent Williams plays. That's my gut. That is absolutely my gut. Ricardo Vega. This year's 49ers team has the guts to go against all these top-tier teams. I think our physicality will definitely show against the Rams this Sunday. Ricardo, I believe that. No one in these playoffs is someone the 49ers can't beat. They can beat everyone remaining. They can beat LA. They can and have beat Cincinnati. They can beat the Chiefs. I don't fear any of these teams. The 49ers just need to play their brand of football. Physical, run first, control the clock, get after the other team, stop the run, get after them on those 3rd and longs. If they get Matthew Stafford into a bunch of 3rd and longs, watch out. Watch out. Nick Bosa gonna try and feast. I gotta say, I'm a little pleased with the idea that I now have some haters that seem to regularly make appearances in the chat. I feel like when you get to a certain level is when you start to get haters. So it feels a little bit like kind of arriving to some extent. CT Law. Here's one. Let's play devil's advocate. Jimmy pulls it off. What is Trey worth on the open market? Can they get their money back? No way. No way could they get their money back for Trey Lance. I think you would have to see flashes of him to get back. I mean, because let's just be honest. You gave up a boatload to get him. Now that we're, going to have at worst, the 29th pick going to the Dolphins, it's a little bit better in what you gave up to get him. Each time you drag that 1st round pick back. So if we do it again next year, if we finish toward the top of the league next year and you traded 2 very late 1st round picks, maybe you could get that back. But I don't think the Niners, even if they went some weird route, even if they kept Jimmy, I don't think they would trade Trey. Even if they brought in Tom Brady on a 1-year deal, I don't think they would trade Trey. Even if they brought in Aaron Rodgers, I don't think they would trade Trey. I believe they think Trey is the future, and the only possible scenario I see is putting that off just a little bit. But still, I believe the plan would be to go to Trey. All right, going to get over to some of the previously submitted ones right after Gold Blooded here. At Rob, if it's a takeover again, your headline the day after should be Silence of the Lambs, fans. Brilliant play on words, Gold Blooded. I'm making a note of that, and you should deserve some credit if that ends up happening. Eduardo, a quick one here. Any updates on Ambry Thomas? Not yet. We'll be looking to that this week. Bone bruise kept him out. That was a surprise for me. I was surprised he couldn't go this week, so I will be even more surprised if he can't go. Sorry, I was surprised he couldn't go last week against the Pack. I'll be even more surprised if he cannot go this week. That would be somewhat shocking to me. All right, I'm going back over to the previously submitted questions. Again, hit the @Rob or @RobShoe if you want to get your current question in on this program. Who's the better coach, Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay? And DeMeco Ryans or Raheem Morris? This one comes in from Daryl. this was the full question right now. Who's the better coach, Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay and DeMeco Ryans or Raheem Morris? Sorry, I just blended that in. Who's the better coach, Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay? Also, DeMeco Ryans or Raheem Morris. England lost the Euros with Gareth Southgate. If we had the Italian coach, Roberto Mancini, I reckon we would have won. How big are the coaches now? So this is obviously an English Niners fan relating it to soccer. I want to say cheers to all those across the pond. Welcome to the stream. And I do think coaches are very important at this point. The record would say, in this case of Kyle versus Sean McVay, the record would say it's Kyle Shanahan by a freaking mile. The eye test would also say it's Kyle Shanahan. That said, I would argue that this is an unimportant game. This is the one that folks will remember most, even though we have a substantial track record going into it. This is the one that folks will remember. This is Kyle's chance to really shine in my book. This season, where people were doubting him, people were actually calling for the 49ers to fire Kyle. And it wasn't just one-off. It wasn't just a couple of folks. It was a lot of people calling for the Niners to fire Kyle Shanahan. Yes, a lot of you out there as well. And I'm not faulting you. It was bleak. It was bleak. But Kyle Shanahan has totally redeemed himself. And to me, it's not a question. Kyle Shanahan of those two. Now, the defensive coordinator question is harder to answer because I have mad respect for Raheem Morris, and he's been doing it for longer. So I had to give him the slight nod because of the resume, because the resume is deeper there. But DeMeco, as a first-year coordinator, has been absolutely phenomenal. Frickin' phenomenal, DeMeco. If I'm building my franchise, if that's my goal, I'm taking DeMeco, even though he doesn't have the same resume yet. Because to me, he showed something in his first year that leaves me wanting more. That like, this guy's special, that he may be one of the best, and we just haven't seen enough of him yet. So again, if I'm building a franchise, I think I'm going that route. All right, going into the next question, previously submitted, this one by Chris Royal, one of our sneakerheads here on the channel. I think the elements played a huge part with our offense not clicking. With that, would you expect our offense to have a bounce back game and lead us to the Super Bowl? Yes, Chris, I agree completely. This will not be a defensive struggle as the Packers game was. This game will require offense. A lot of it, I think. Defense is going to play a huge role. Turnovers will be an absolute premium in this game, but I expect the offense to show us what they can continue to do against LA, which is dominance. They can continue to dominate LA. I would guess 30 plus points this game. That will be my prediction when it comes out tomorrow on Between Two Beards. All right. Getting back into your comments here, looking for the @Rob Shoe, HR, @Rob. One huge advantage is the fact that the 49ers are a true team while the Rams are a collection of mercenaries. Very true. This is a team that is solidified around a coach, a quarterback. They have been through adversity. They fight for one another. I mean, this is the definition of a team. An absolute team. And the Rams have compiled theirs through acquisition, bringing in outside bodies, mercenaries, to your point. That's a very, very astute observation. Smokey, @Rob Shoe, do you think the Niners can blow the Lambs out faithful to the Bay? I'm not predicting a blowout. That's my gut feeling. I believe this one is closer than most would want to believe. But I do think the 49ers have significant advantage over the Rams, much more physical, and that will translate on the field. San Francisco 49ers, @Rob Shoe. Let's just say somehow Jimmy G ends up in the NFC with a team with a good offensive line. What do you think his Niner hater would do? I don't think I guess he could end up in the NFC. I don't think the Niners would be very terrified of Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's not me trying to throw shade at Jimmy Garoppolo. I think we understand what his limitations are. he doesn't inspire fear in other teams. So I don't know. He's not the type of quarterback that you're like, well, we better ship him out of our freaking conference. Like if you're the Packers, I just don't see them shipping Aaron Rodgers to the Niners. I know there are some fans that would predict that. That would put egg on their face pretty badly if he wins a Super Bowl with them. For Jimmy, I do think he goes to the AFC. I do think he goes to I do think that he goes to the Steelers, actually. That's been my prediction. But I don't think the Niners care that he goes out of the conference. It's not quite like a top-tier quarterback in that regard. All right, looking at Madison. Madison coming in at Rob Shue. What do you think about a two-quarterback system unannounced against the Lambs, especially with a big play-action boot to Z? I would love to see it. I just don't think it will happen. I believe Coach Shanahan is clinging tighter and tighter to Jimmy Garoppolo. I think he rides and dies with him. Ibis World, at Rob, I feel Trent Williams will play. Isn't this why he signed here? Yes, it most certainly is. He signed to play in the playoffs. Here we are. NFC Championship game. You can't tell me that he's not going to do everything in his power to play. Bullpup 33, our newest member of the Sneakerhead community, now here on the channel. Welcome to the Sneakerheads, Bullpup 33. Love it. Saw another Corey Hyde coming in with the super chat. Use the haters as motivators. Keep killing it. Love listening to your shows. I appreciate that, Corey. I do. You know, I do use that as motivation. There would have been a time early on in the channel where I may have taken it to heart, where people threw shade at me, right? Because, you know, you feel pretty vulnerable when you put yourself out there, when you're literally speaking from your heart, which I hope people can tell is what I'm doing. And then someone looks at that. They watch you speaking from your heart, saying some of your ultimate truths, and then they point and laugh at you. That's tough. That can sting. And there would have been a point in time, like I said, earlier on in the channel where that sting may have overwhelmed the joy I get from dealing with the rest of you. That is no longer the case. The vast majority of everyone I've interacted with through this medium, the dialogue that we've created, is something I truly value. And if there are a couple of knuckleheads out there that don't like me for some reason, that's okay. That's their prerogative. I don't need everybody to like me. And I like people who disagree with me. I really love a good disagreement, a respectful disagreement. The only folks that, I sort of laugh at and then have to block are those that go with the personal insults, because that's just unnecessary, right? They don't know me. They don't know who I am. They've never met me in person. They probably wouldn't say those things to my face. I would hope they wouldn't say those things to my face. I'm a pretty likable guy in real life. I hope I'm pretty likable here. But yes, I do think that online there is a certain status to getting some haters, and I am currently enjoying it. Yes, I am. All right, Bay Area Niners coming in here. If the Niners' identity on offense is to run the ball, why do some fans care so much about the amount of touchdown passes thrown? A rushing touchdown equals 6 points. A passing touchdown equals 6 points. Haha. Bay Area Niners, very true. I think people just love to hate. There is a desire to hate on folks, and Jimmy Garoppolo is an easy target. Let's be very clear about that. Because he's inconsistent, because he does so many things that are criticism worthy, it's easy to hate on him. And we live in this polarized society where people want clear-cut answers. They don't want nuance. They don't want detail. They want yes, no. They want good, bad. And with Jimmy, it's pretty easy to drift to the bad because he does some bad things. No question. Bullpup asking here, one of our newest sneakerheads saying, at Rob, Green Bay is 44 mil over the cap. Devontae coming? I would love that. I don't think the Niners would bring him in because I think the cost would be prohibitive, but he's from Palo Alto High School. I'm from Palo Alto High School. Let's go, Devontae. Let's get back to the Bay, huh? I would be all over that. I think the Niners, that would be money well spent. But we are pretty stacked currently and only have 31 people under contract and are close to the cap ourselves. So it's going to be a tight one up against the cap for the 49ers. as well as the Packers, as well as the Saints, as well as many teams that are going to be cash strapped this year. This is the year we want to lock some players in, because next year that cap explodes. Ricardo Vega, do you plan to go live on your channel this Sunday? And yeah, man, I love your shows. Never miss one. Keep it up. Ricardo, thank you. Appreciate that. Cheers to you. And yes, I will be going live Sunday. I will set up shop at my best friend Mark's place. I'm staying with him. I will set up my camera at his place, my MacBook there. There will be Steelers paraphernalia in the background, so please bear with it. But yes, I will do that post-show whenever we get back from LA. He's down in Orange County, so it may take a little bit, but I will go live that night, no question. William Bennett, just wanted to say you did a great broadcasting from the game. It felt like I was there with great coverage. William, I appreciate that. A sneakerhead here on the channel. If anybody missed it, go back and watch the pregame video that I put out and the postgame celebration. That was raw, unfiltered Rob Shoe. That was absolutely me just loving the experience of being there in Lambeau. I am so grateful for it. The professional gamer, Niners will need to play their best game Sunday. I tend to agree that they will need to bring it because the Rams most definitely will. As the underdogs, they're not the underdogs, but both teams are going to be able to say they're the underdogs. They're both going to be able to use the underdog mentality. Niners are going to have to bring it. Dave Owens, you seen 2 Rams and a cup? That's pretty clever. That is pretty clever there. Pretty clever, Dave. I like it. Good play on words. No, I don't want to see that, though. That sounds really bad. Really bad. All right, let's look at some of these last previously submitted topics that we have in here. We've already done the better coach. We have talked about the elements. Let's talk about how can the Bengals beat the Chiefs, because Daniel wants to know. Daniel C. coming in with that question. And my answer is spread the ball around on offense. Give plenty of carries to Joe Mixon. They obviously have a 3-headed monster at wide receiver. We know this. Joe Mixon, high quality back. Give him plenty of carries. Keep Mahomes off the field as much as possible. Play 2 high safety looks. Force Mahomes to be patient. Force him to take the underneath stuff. And if they then can get up early, so if the Bengals can score quickly with that 3-headed attack, making sure they're getting Joe Mixon some carries so that they manage the time of possession, if they can get up early in the games and Mahomes is not patient, then they could force multiple turnovers and basically do what the 49ers did to Kansas City in the Super Bowl, but they're going to need to do it for a full 60 minutes. And that's hard to do. We as the faithful know that is hard to do, but definitely possible. All right, next question that was previously submitted. Von Miller looks more settled compared to when he played the Niners. And I'm not sure Tom Compton will hold up against that D-line. Your thoughts? Coming in from Daryl Q. I expect the Rams defense to be successful in obvious passing downs. This goes back to what I touched on earlier. I do think in 3rd and long that, yes, Von Miller will have success. And therefore, the only way to neutralize that for the Niners is to avoid those 3rd and long situations. We will have to pass on some early downs to take advantage of when the Rams are not pinning their ears back. We will need the run game to get those 4-5 yards of carry so that we can find ourselves in manageable 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4 situations as opposed to 3rd and 7, 3rd and 8. If we're in a bunch of 3rd and longs, I think that sets up to favor the Rams. Still possible for the Niners to pull that out. Much more difficult. All right, this is an interesting one. Which player do you anticipate to have the biggest game on both offense and defense? Deebo Samuel Enjoyer coming in here. On offense, I'm tempted to say Deebo here, but they may sell out to stop him. Could be another Kittle game, as this one seemed like it was going to be, especially if Kittle had caught that first frickin' pass over the middle and that had been a touchdown. Or the sneaky Brandon Ayuk pick, especially after meeting Brandon's mother while in Green Bay, Martha. Martha Ayuk, again, shout out to Martha. Wonderful woman, so kind, so amazing to talk to, such a great mother, the way she expressed her opinions on Brandon and everything. You know, I won't go into what we discussed because it was over dinner and it was very pleasant with her and a couple other Niners fans. And I don't want to betray that trust, but it was just an amazing conversation. And so I'm tempted to say that as well. But with the namesake and with the heart he's displayed, I got to go Debo. It's the obvious choice, but you need your stars to make the big plays in the biggest moments. So the Niners need Debo to come through. And the same is true on the other side of the ball. Nick Bosa has not been able to come through with the huge statistical games as far as getting those sacks. Bosa's got to eat on Sunday. So I'm going Debo Samuel and Nick Bosa for the biggest game on offense and defense. All right, getting back into your comments here. Ooh, couple of good ones here. Big Heck at Rob Shue. The difference between us and the Rams are buying their championships. We are building for ours. Yes, we have drafted some studs. We have a core that is built to keep going. E. Kim at Rob. Where do you see Sean Payton coaching next? I think he'll take some time and really get to choose the best destination. He's going to have his pick of wherever he wants to go whenever he decides he's ready to get back into it. Adrian Garcia says, just subscribed. Love from Ensenada in Baja Cali, Mexico. Love your stuff. Adrian, welcome to the channel. I do always say on these broadcasts, if you enjoy the content, please do consider hitting the like button because it does amplify my broadcast. If I can get to 500 likes on a broadcast, that one blows up and it amplifies my signal. So I appreciate that. And if you listen regularly, consider subscribing as Adrian did. Abjeet coming in at Rob. Jimmy G is criticized, but think about it. Probably he knows he isn't great and hence has no ego, which makes us a more cohesive, better team. I'm telling you that this team makeup is right now something I don't want to mess with because it has what led us to where we are. It is what has led us to where we are. Key. The Rams and their fan base crap their pants after the Niners beat Green Bay. That's why they don't want us in their home away from home. Yeah, trying to cut off the tickets made for a great storyline. A great storyline. Daniel Martinez at Rob Shue. No Devontae. With the money that will be freed by trading Jimmy, we must spend that in cornerbacks and offensive line. Besides, Bosa and Debo's extensions are up. The mentality of this front office is to pay their own players. I agree with that mentality. And I do agree that we will pay both Bosa and Debo backloaded contracts. And I would say that, yes, I would target a cornerback. Offensive line, I'd like to see them re-sign Lake and Tomlinson as the top priority there, but that will eat up some more of that money. Rob Smith. Hi, Rob. Love the show. Don't let the haters get you down. Amen to that. Amen to that. Hey, it's okay to have a little bit of hate. I'm not soft. I can take hate. Just won't tolerate personal insults. But other than that, yeah, bring on the argument. G-Bone Patron at Rob. Will Big Ben be there? In LA? When we were talking about Pittsburgh? I don't know. Arshawn Jedi at Rob. Is there a line in Oregon that marks Seattle 49ers fan territory? The further south you go, the more 49er faithful. The further north you go, the more Seattle 12s. Portland's like a 50-50 mix, I would say. And whichever team is hotter at that moment, the bandwagon fans come out to feast. When I first moved here, Seattle bandwagon fans were everywhere. They've been disappearing over the last few. Raphael 5629ers at Rob. I had to get tickets to this game. I'm only 16 miles away from Levi's South. Yes, go. Go. Please do. I love it. I am thrilled that you're going to be there. All right, Swan Song at Rob Shue. Where are your seats this Sunday? I have yet to buy them. I will be looking for 100 level, which is why I wait. If you're going good seats, you can wait and try to get a value on those good seats. If you're going cheapest available, that can really bite you in the butt. If you wait till the end, you may end up paying through the nose. I'm trying to get some value on it. We'll see. It's a gamble. It's a total gamble, but it's one I'm willing to lose because I'm going to that game no matter what. E. Kim at Rob. Best part of the Lambeau experience. Great question, E. Kim. It was the atmosphere. It was the historical significance of the building, of appreciating the moment for just how special it was, for just how many historical moments have happened there, and just how significant this one will become in the history books when we look back at it. I looked up at the sky at halftime. Snow was falling. We were down. It seemed like there was no hope. And I just got this overwhelming sense of destiny. And in that moment, I felt Lambeau. I just felt it. I felt the history of the NFL. I'm getting chills down my spine just saying it. I know it sounds stupid. I know it sounds made up, but I felt it, whether it was my own brain making it up in that moment or whether I felt some karma that was flowing through the universe at that moment in time. It was special, and I will never forget it. Never forget it. Get into those at Rob Shoe comments, and of course, the super chats, because there is one coming in here. There it is. Gizmo Maltese. The 49er passing game has not been as methodical as it's been in the past. I think the O-line has more to do with it than Jimmy. Compton was awful in Green Bay. That right side of the line in pass protection is definitely suspect. That's what I think the 49ers need to avoid. They cannot get down in this one as they did the last one. That was too risky, right? It was a miracle to come back. An absolute miracle to come back in that one. So I do think that to me, it is about running at those strengths on defense. It is at getting Brunskill and Compton into their comfort zone, which is run blocking. Get them out in space, blocking on the second level, motion for Trent Williams, as we saw. Just so many positive things that get going when the Niners begin to run the ball effectively, and that requires not getting behind early. So defense has to come out straight up, and just freaking play their game, get after the quarterback, hopefully force Stafford into some turnovers, and then control the time of possession on offense. To me, that is critical. Thank you, Gizmo, for coming in here. All right, getting back to some of the previously submitted questions to close this thing out. This one's about Trey Lance. How many wins do you see Trey getting us next year? My initial gut on this is I picture 10 to 11 wins next year. I looked at next year's schedule to look at the opponents, and it really is a tough road with the AFC West on the docket. But it's actually not tough on the road. It's tough at home. The home games, we've got Kansas City coming to Levi's. We got the LA Chargers coming to Levi's. We got the Bucks all at home. All seem like tough matchups. The other ones that are non-division, New Orleans without Sean Payton, without a quarterback, winnable. Miami without a head coach at this point, no clear-cut starter at quarterback. Maybe it's Tua still. Maybe they go with a new quarterback for whomever comes in. And then Washington football team, who this year I thought were going to be very dominant, haven't solved the quarterback conundrum. The division is stacked, so I figure 3-3 is a decent year to go 3-3 in the division. I look at those home games, KC, Chargers, Bucks, those are tough. And then the away games, much easier. We may have another good road record. Atlanta, Carolina, Denver, Las Vegas, Chicago, and the 3 division games. Between all of that, I see 10 or 11 wins next year in Trey's first season. And that would be phenomenal. If you can make the playoffs in Trey's first season, you would totally validate the 49ers' entire strategy of drafting Trey, giving up everything you gave to get him, keeping Jimmy Garoppolo, paying everything you paid to keep him, riding him this year, and flipping to Trey. It would be a picture-perfect storyline. NFC Championship at worst this year, maybe a Super Bowl win, and then next year, playoffs. That would be phenomenal. All right, this one from Bat Dad is sort of the opposite of that. What are your thoughts on Kyle deciding to keep Jimmy? Restructure? He went on to say, could go even further still. Think Kyle liked having 2 quarterbacks when the injury happened, and how well would they be doing if Jimmy wasn't injured now? I didn't answer that last part of it. I focused on the beginning. What are my thoughts on Kyle deciding to keep Jimmy and a restructure? I think it's over. Barring a Super Bowl win where Jimmy is the MVP, it's over in my book. The relationship was truly tested this year. Credit to Jimmy for holding it together and acting like a complete pro throughout. But you can't press your luck on this one, can you? I mean, another season where the thing could come off the rails, another season where if it starts slowly, the fan base melts down as we did when we were 3-5 this year. You gave up a ton for the kid. You got to find out if you were right while he's still on the rookie deal. That's the advantage of having these rookie quarterbacks in this, salary cap structure. You don't have to pay them like top tier quarterbacks, even if they are. I'd be more fascinated by the potential storylines of other notable quarterbacks that have expressed a desire to play in SF that could push off Lance by maybe 1 year. That would be interesting to me. I can't wait to talk about it in the offseason. We got 2 more previously submitted questions that we will get to, but we're back into your current comments to make sure that we get everything you want to talk about in there. Bebop Jones, new mug? Yes, new mug in effect because we transferred all the good mojo from the old Cheers mug into the parka that we took into Lambeau. And it worked. It changed around the special teams as we needed it to do. Fernando coming in. Do you think Jimmy will get traded if he wins a Super Bowl, or will they exercise the last year under contract? Yes, he does have 1 more year under contract. I do believe he gets traded even if the Niners win the Super Bowl. If Jimmy is the clear-cut MVP of that game, or he's the most valuable player of the next 2 games, it could change. That would be new information. If we get the same Jimmy Garoppolo we've had for the last 3 games, the last 2 playoff games and the last one against the Rams, where there is some question marks, to say the least, about his play, then I think the plan is clear. The plan is to move on, to trade Jimmy, get back some of that asset, some of those assets you gave up to get Trey. To me, that seems like the clear-cut choice. But things can definitely change. There is no doubt about that. And the Niners winning the Super Bowl would change it at least a little bit. Richie, not feeling good about this one. Need to bring it this weekend. Seems like Jimmy getting progressively worse, and Kittle will need to stay and block. Hey, it will require the best of the 49ers. You and I are in agreement on that one. I do believe the 49ers have the edge. Jimmy has had some rough games. If there's one where he'll regain his confidence, you would think the Rams would be a prime place to do that. He has historically been very good against them. Going in, that should give him a mental edge. This is the type of game where the 49ers will feast over the middle. The run game should be able to get going. When those factors are true, in combination with Jimmy's confidence, I think we see a good game from Jimmy Garoppolo in this one. That's why I'm going to be predicting above 30 points from the 49ers offense. Just my 2 cents on it, though. It could go any direction. No question about it. All right, I want to get through these last 2 previously submitted topics before I close out on yours. This one, can a quarterback be great without having great stats? Are yards and touchdowns the be-all, end-all? Which stat do you think is the most important stat when evaluating a quarterback's performance? Don C. via Twitter. This one had some more. The character limit forced me to shorten it, so I'm going to read out the entirety of it, which said, are there intangibles that can't be quantified by a stat page? Are wins a quarterback's stat? So, can a quarterback be great without having great stats? Great? Like elite great? I would say no. But very good? Can a quarterback be very good without having good stats? Yes, emphatically yes, because there are no stats that tell the complete picture. That's the problem with statistics when they're taken out of context. You can take a statistic and spin it one direction and take the same statistic and spin it the other direction. Stats are just numbers. They don't tell the entire picture. That's why when we attempt to tell a story just using statistics, it's missing an element because context matter. Situations matter. The eye test matters. In answer to the intangible question, no freaking doubt in my mind that there are intangibles that make for a great leader. To me, a great leader inspires confidence in those around them. A great leader gets others to raise their own game, and there's no way to quantify that. You can't take Deebo Samuel's season and say, well, 20% of that belongs to Jimmy Garoppolo. And I'm not implying 20% of that belongs to Jimmy Garoppolo, but maybe some portion of it does. Maybe if you checked in with Deebo Samuel and you asked him what effect Deebo has had, what effect Jimmy has had on him, he might indicate, as he does in the press conferences, that he's inspired by Jimmy's leadership, that Jimmy's ability to stay calm in those moments does lift him up. So yes, there are certainly things that cannot be quantified that you have to understand. You have to talk to those other players that are impacted by the leader to truly understand. Those of you who are listening right now, who have come across a great leader in your lifetime, you're going to understand what I'm talking about. You're going to understand that situation in life, whether it was work, sports, personal life, where some leader made you act better than you were acting prior to their influence, where they raised your game. They inspired you. You can argue all you want, but the evidence strongly suggests that Jimmy G is a phenomenal leader. He instills confidence in others and gets them to rise up in critical moments. Does he also commit incredibly boneheaded turnovers that have cost the 49ers at various turns? Yes. Yes, he has. And he deserves criticism for those mistakes. And he gets plenty of criticism. My argument is it just has to be balanced coverage. While I will criticize Jimmy Garoppolo, have and will continue to, I will also recognize those things that are positive for Jimmy Garoppolo. And to me, there's plenty of evidence on both sides. All right, last previously submitted questions, and we're going to close out in your comments. What is your Super Bowl pick? Mine is Niners versus Bengals. This is a different Chris R. This is not a sneakerhead on the channel. Different Chris R from Twitter. But obviously wanting that rematch of Niners-Bengals, that would be the matchup I would want as well. Like if I could choose who was going to be there, I would pick the Bengals. I would pick the Bengals, and it would be a rematch of our earlier Super Bowl. It would be a rematch of the overtime game that we had against the Bengals in Cincinnati. But if I'm predicting it, the way I see it is I see a rematch of the 2019 season finale, 49ers versus Chiefs at SoFi Stadium. All that red, all those Niner fans, watch out. Watch the F out. That is my prediction on it. All right, closing out on your comments here. Definitely want to get to everything that you guys want to talk about. So let's get it. Here we go, scrolling down. Richie coming back in. Niners will be running it back with Jimmy. He has a built-in excuse with these injuries. Play the Trey, but I don't think Kyle feels the same. So, no, Kyle will not play Trey unless Jimmy cannot go. That would be my locked in stone prediction. Locked in stone. I don't think they're running it back with Jimmy, though. Next year, I am very confident that they will move on to Trey Lance. Again, barring a Super Bowl victory where Jimmy is the MVP. Because even just in a Super Bowl win where, you know, it's Jimmy plays some sort of a complimentary role, I think they leverage that into greater trade value for Jimmy Garoppolo. That would be my take. G-Bone Patron at Rob, may we get another Al Pacino outro? I would love to. I don't have one off the cuff here. I just have to do a repeat of that inches speech that he gave. But no, I will plan something. I will make it happen, G-Bone Patron, for those of you that appreciate it. And I'll always put it at the end of the show so that I can let people know I'm about to do a dramatic reading. You can bounce if all you want to hear is normal Niner stuff. But if you like a weird voiceover or whatever it is, a speech, an inspirational speech like the Al Pacino one at the end of the last video, then you can stick around. Ben B. at Rob, do you think they can get Rodgers for Jimmy G? I do not see this scenario. I have talked to some folks that are very convinced that you could see Rodgers for the 49ers next year. I think that there is just no way that happens. In particular, just because of the whole vaccination thing and going to San Francisco. To me, I think Jed York wants nothing to do with that drama. Jed York is a pretty active dude when it comes to the environment, when it comes to social issues. I don't think he wants that drama in his building. So I don't know that Jed would sign off on that. I don't think the Packers would sign off on that because it would be a nightmare for him to go to San Francisco. What if he won multiple Super Bowls in back-to-back years? The Packers would have so much egg on their face. It would be unbelievable. Now that could happen anywhere, but it would sting so much more if it were the Niners. Going 0-4 against the Niners in the playoffs and then getting traded to the Niners and then winning Super Bowls with them. Ooh, man, that would be very hard for the Packers organization to be able to live down, if you ask me. All right, looking for those last at Rob Shoe comments, people wanting to bring in the dialogue. Here we go. DeMeco's Magic coming in at Rob. Hi from Australia. Love the Niners since the young Rice days as a kid. Hoping to see some Jimmy G Kittle connections this week. Go Niners. I think you will get that wish. I do believe that we will see a strong Kittle game. My team over yours. Beat LA. Isn't it amazing just how much we love to say that? We love to frickin' say beat LA. And so does everyone. Here in Portland, when the Blazers play any LA teams, beat LA becomes a chant. It is just a very, very catchy chant. Here we go. ACDC113089 says, at Rob, greetings from Barberville, Kentucky. Give me a bold prediction for the game. Bold prediction for the game. I think Mitch Wishnowsky pins a punt inside the 5-yard line in this one. Special teams continues to be a factor, a positive factor for the 49ers after being such a freaking disaster for most of the year. They saved us against Green Bay, and they will contribute against LA. Bold prediction. You heard it here first. Man, when there's so many comments in the chat, it is hard to read through to make sure there's not too much trash talking going on, so I just got to allow it. Mark coming in. Is Trey getting any first-team stats this week? Any first-team reps this week? I believe he's getting a handful, but maybe not. I mean, Kyle Shanahan's been a bit elusive about this. He has said two things. He has said, well, Trey gets a handful of those reps, and he said Jimmy's a full participant in practice. So my guess is very few, if any, going to Trey Lance, because this is Jimmy's train from here on out. Andre saying, didn't Kittle say he will be back with a vengeance? What are we talking about? What are we talking about here, Andre? That had me intrigued, but it was clearly part of another conversation. Here we go. Ooh, no, you're not making it trash talking like that. I like good contrary opinions, but if it's just trash talk for the sake of trash talk, then it doesn't get airtime. Trying to find those at Rob. Here we go. Eric Milner saying, at Rob Shoe, the Rams don't want SF to be the first team to win a Super Bowl in their stadium. That would be epic if the Niners were the first team to win a Super Bowl in the Rams stadium. That would be phenomenal bragging rights. Raphael, at Rob, Stafford going to be on a silent count again. Yes, and I will be part of the reason why as well, Raphael. Mark coming in, at Rob Shoe, do you think Jimmy trade stock moves up as long as he keeps on winning? I think it's fairly fixed. I think most teams know what his value is, know what he brings to the table. And to me, it's a solid second rounder, maybe conditional first rounder. To me, it's second and fourth. That was what it was before he won any games in the playoffs. I don't think he's done a whole lot in these playoff games to make someone say, oh my goodness, I need to have Jimmy Garoppolo. I think it's more of the same, more of the leadership that people are going to like, more of the face of the franchise that people are going to like, and more of that quick release and good passes over the middle that some offensive coordinator is going to say to themselves, I can make that work. Look at the short passing game of the Pittsburgh Steelers as a prime example. The Recovery 716, at Rob Shoe, the Chiefs worry me. Do you think we could stop Mahomes? Love the show. I am focused 1,000% on the Rams right now. But yes, I will freely admit that Patrick Mahomes should scare anybody. I do think you can beat him. The recipe has been laid out this season, and the Niners have what it takes to get that done, but they got to get through LA first. Archie, at Rob, my channel has been set up, just need to set up my mic and etc. Ready to work on covering the San Francisco teams. Wish me luck. Archie, good luck, Archie. May you have significant success. Please send me the link when you get that first show up. I'd love to see it. George, at Rob Shoe, were you at the Super Bowl in 19? How was that experience if you were? I was there in Miami. It was a phenomenal experience for the most part. It was a phenomenal experience being in Miami. I love a good cigar, and Miami is just swimming in those. I got to go by the Padron spot and meet some of the Padron family members, pick up some nice cigars for myself, for a buddy of mine as well. The food was wonderful in Miami. The hotel I stayed at was great. Going to the beach was wonderful. The game for the first 3+ quarters was spectacular, and then it broke my heart. But again, I am a firm believer, 'tis better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all. I will always, always cherish the losses I suffered through in the Super Bowl in New Orleans and Miami. I will carry those memories with me as treasured memories. You may say I'm crazy for doing so, but it is my firm belief in life that your highest highs are only as sweet as your lowest lows, because it's that difference between the two that truly lets you experience the appreciation of special moments. Rye3211, at Rob Shoe, not really sure why people want Rodgers to come to SF. We don't need a quarterback that chokes in the playoffs. I just don't think it's a fit. Luke Luna, at Rob Shoe, Jimmy Playoffalo and The Last Dance. I've been telling people that, and there's something special going on. These guys are fighting and playing for each other one last time. They love Jimmy. I am telling you, there's a special vibe to this team. Real special. Mark says second and fourth. I can't be mad at that. And our first round pick looks like it can be a 30th pick. Yeah, the one we're giving away could be the 32nd pick. Turn 567. Hey, Rob, also from Australia, and also been a Niners fan since the young days. I think this could be the best Niners D I've seen in my time watching. Let's jam the Rams. Love it. This defense is coming through in the clutch. I am here for it. Juan, at Rob, a big what's up from Dalton, Georgia. Go Niners. P.S. What's in that cup? Just water. Just water. I like to keep it nice and level-headed for these. I do not want to get beyond my skis. I am all about hydration during these. I take these broadcasts pretty seriously. Like you can probably tell from the camera setup I have, from the microphone. I really do take this seriously in what I'm doing here. So yes, completely sober every time I come on the air here. Riz Ice says, at Rob Shoe, is Jimmy G Tim Tebow? He's bad for 3 quarters and then comes out with the win in the fourth and overtime. No, he is not Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow could not throw a good pass to save his life. He threw a couple, but no, that would be an unfair comparison in my book. Ikey at Rob Shue, one more win, and we have 2 weeks to prepare for either AFC team. Niners all the way. The excitement from 49er faithful is phenomenal. Raphael at Rob SoFi, going to be a red out. Yes. Yes, it will, and I will be there. Schmerica G at Rob Shue. Yeah, still haven't forgiven the Chiefs for the Super Bowl. Boost my hope, man. What is the number one thing that could give us the edge against the Chiefs? Deebo Samuel running the football. Deebo Samuel's ability to get those crucial first downs late in the game to salt away the clock. The 49ers run game is what we need to hang our hats on. It is that ability to keep Mahomes off the field that is so critical. And you can't leave him anytime. Hell, 13 seconds is apparently too much. 13 seconds is too much. That is wild. Truth told, not sold. Rob, a win is a win. I don't care how ugly it is. I'm not here for losses, only dubs. Stats mean nothing. Only dubs count. Here's to the dubs that we've gotten and to those that we will grab. Just lay hold of from the Rams next. Let's see. Let's see if we can't just snatch that frickin' win. Sam, at Rob, would you pull Jimmy G if we get behind either game left? I wouldn't. I trust in Shanahan, and Shanahan is sticking with Jimmy G no matter what. That's my observation of this. Leo, at Rob, a stat and opinion to share. Last time a non-quarterback won MVP, Adrian Peterson, 2012. Since 2000, 3 times ever. 18 times, 1 of 2. Is this 1 of 2 messages? Here we go. 49ers, 5 MVPs. Last time, 1994, all quarterbacks. 2 more games like these from Deebo, and I'm flipping tables if it's not him. Agreed that Deebo absolutely deserves to be Super Bowl MVP. Bobby agrees with you. Deebo Samuel, Super Bowl MVP. He deserves to be MVP of the league. He deserves to get to win a Super Bowl and be the MVP of that. He deserves everything that's coming to him. Andre, at Rob, I do not want to see a McVay end zone celebration. Can the Niners D shut them out? Oh, that would be glorious. Glorious. Daniel, at Rob Shue, SF, home away from home in SoFi, body bag game coming. Can't spell SoFi without SF. Yes. Darren Worthington, at Rob, I did call a buddy at ESPN and told him to check your channel out. I got your back. Darren, here's to you. Here's to you. This guy would love to work at ESPN. That's the dream, right? That is the dream, to make this thing a reality. Godzilla coming in. Jimmy G is the next Joe Montana. He will get his first out of 4 rings this year. Man, I love the optimism, and I'm all here for it. If he gets that first ring, I will definitely reconsider my stance on whether or not the 49ers should trade him. Again, I don't see us keeping him even if we win a Super Bowl, but if he's the MVP, if he's the reason for it, man, it changes the equation. You have to admit it. Joseph Mann, one of our sneakerheads, coming in here. At Rob Shue, I feel better about this one than week 18. Elect to receive the ball and milk long possessions. D will do its thing. If Jimmy doesn't turn the ball over, we win 27-21. Love that prediction. Love that prediction. I'm fired up for this game. I'm fired up to have been here with all of you. I thank you for being a part of this mailbag, as you are every week. I will be back tomorrow with Between Two Beards. Randy McMahon and myself will be here tomorrow on this channel at 5 p.m. I've got those great videos. If you didn't see them, go back and check out the live videos that I shot in Lambeau Stadium. 1 pregame, 1 postgame. Raphael correctly calling it out. Hey, if you're on your way out and you enjoy the content, please consider hitting that like button down in the corner. talk about subscribing to the channel if you want to support it. And hell, you can definitely become a sneakerhead on the channel if you want to take that support to the next level. I appreciate you all being here, and I will see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Until then, cheers, 49er faithful.